What's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. We remember legendary comic book writer Len Wein, who passed away this week, and discuss the impact and legacy he left behind on the comic book industry. Stephen King's hit-setting box office records. Spider-Man Homecoming opens big in China. We get our first look at the new Hellboy, and the crazy game of musical chairs continues at Lucasfilm as Star Wars Episode 9 gets a new director and a new script. All that, plus reviews of the pilot episode of Seth McFarlane's The Orville and the second season of the Game of Thrones, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Thursday, September 14th, 2017.
Check one. All right, this is really fans out there. Let's give it up! We jockin', we nerdin', we funny, disturbing. We jockin', we nerdin', we spoiler alert. Oh yeah! We jockin', we nerdin', we funny, disturbing. Oh yeah! I'm jockin', we nerdin', we spoiler alert. Give it up,
What's up, friend? Welcome back to another geektastic edition of the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Jock and Nerd. We've been giving you comic book and superhero-related news, reviews, and interviews every week since mid-2015. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
And he's the Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
What's up, dudes? How's it going?
It's going good. How you doing? You still Mr. Roboting down there? How's your situation?
Mr. Robot, you mean I'm on the lamb?
You're on the. Are you riding a lamb right now? That's weird.
Well, it's actually an alpaca.
They're both good animals. You can wear both of them.
Well, I don't like saying on the lamb. It sounds like, first of all, who rides lambs? They're not rideable. I mean, even for a puppet, it's humiliating.
I don't know where. I wonder where that saying came from. And besides, they will poop on you if you try to poach them from behind.
If you're trying to run away from the government. Like, how do you... The lamb's not even fast.
I'm living on... I think it's just LAM on the lamb. I don't think it's actually lamb. I still don't know what that means. Makes no sense. What does make sense is what we're going to talk about on this show. If you're a new listener, we're going to give you some geek news. We are going to review a couple of things like the Orville pilot with Seth MacFarlane, Game of Thrones... Game of Thrones Season 2. That's how far I am. I'm setting the pace for the Game of Thrones discussion for us. And we have some emails from our buddies and some other things. And there's the show. But, you guys, before we start, I got a couple of shout-outs. First shout-out to a new listener. It's my friend Gabe. Gabe, who did all the gypsy jazz music with his friend Charles. He was responsible for all the little sweepers, the Spider-Man.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was smart, and he waited 180 episodes before he started listening. I think that's
smart?
I think that's a good idea because
I don't know. We've already peaked like 40 episodes ago.
We are just washed up at this point.
We're on the downward slope.
We're not
when we're sitting here and we're just sweating, sitting. That's when you're just a washed up human.
We're not like Game of Thrones where it gets better and better as you go on. It's the opposite.
Already peaked, as Rug Boy said.
Well,
we're a flash in the pan.
Well, look, you can go back, Gabe. Thanks for listening. Go back and listen to all the other episodes.
He's like you guys with Game of Thrones. He came in late.
Yes, now he's got to catch up.
He's never going to listen to all 180 episodes. It's not going to happen.
It's all on demand. Go back. We have a huge back catalog, but I'm glad he started listening. For what it's worth, thanks for listening. Another huge shout out and major kudos to a couple of gals over at the Blazing Caribou Studios, Kari Sims and Donna Hume, who scrambled. And this Tuesday, they did a 12-hour live Facebook podcast marathon to raise money for Hurricane Irma relief.
Oh, shit.
And it was nuts. It was a lot of fun. Tons of independent podcasters every hour came in and out. I did a slot at like the 6-hour mark. They've been going for 6 hours. And we talked about Game of Thrones. And then I talked about like animal rescue and these times in my experience. I volunteered with the animal rescue this summer.
They brought you on to talk about Game of Thrones season 1 watcher?
Yeah, no, she brought it up. I was going to talk about animal rescue.
I was like, geez, you are not the authority at all on Game of Thrones.
They were giving me shit for that I'm the nerd on the Jock and Nerd podcast that I just started watching Game of Thrones. Well-deserved shit, of course.
Yeah.
challenging
so.
our nerd cred. So I had to be like, look, here's the deal. But I also told the story of the one foster dog that bit me on the face.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if I've ever told that story. They'll cut up the audio. It'll be out somewhere. Just get on our social medias. You can also still donate until the end of the month through the link they set up on Facebook. All these links and all the stuff we're going to talk about in this episode, listener, in the show notes.
I remember when you came into work looking like Jigsaw from Marvel Comics.
Were we doing it? Was this before the podcast? I did look like Jigsaw. I had 11 stitches in my face and it was all swollen. Was this before the podcast?
I don't remember. I think it was before.
It must have been before. Yeah. Good story. It's all on that special episode of.
It didn't hurt though.
You know what? It actually didn't. Like between the adrenaline and I iced it, and then we got to the hospital.
And how much fat he has in his
and
face.
How fat my face was. My fat lip that almost fell out. I don't remember any pain. And then they gave me pills, so I was fine. Didn't hurt. Check out the show notes.
That's why you have a beard. I can't tell that anything happened.
Right. If I shave off my mustache, you will see 2 scars now. That will be there. So
you don't not want to see him without a mustache.
Because
not only because of the scars, but just because of your face.
Look, I'm so white that my chin disappears. If I shave my beard and my mustache, like I'm just I look like Beaker from the Muppets. I'm just a column of white. Like there's no delineation.
Oh my God.
Yes, it doesn't make sense.
The beard gives you a chin, basically.
Yes, I need it for definition.
Wowie zowie.
Wowie zowie.
Wowie zowie.
That's right. Check the show notes.
That was like a very reserved wowie zowie because I don't know how to react to this.
Listen, when you hear the story, I will put it out there. Make sure to check it out. But for this episode, check the show notes, jockandnerd.com/186, and let's get to the news, you bastards.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
See that music right there? That was all Gabe and Charles providing the slick gypsy jazz. Listener, if you want to get in touch with the show, if you want to send us your thoughts, a review on something, or just call us out for being fucking morons, that's fine.
That's great.
Yes, visit jockandnerd.com/contact for all the ways, the Twitter, the Facebook group, which is growing every day. Matthew Lawrence just posted something. Good old Matty Lawrence, Joey Lawrence's brother. Whoa. jockandnerd.com/contact. You can even send us your voice via SpeakPipe. The first thing we got to do, though, guys, is pay our respects because we lost a legendary comic book writer this past week, a man whose influence still is with us, who's changed a lot. I am talking about Len Wein, who died at 69.
Good age to die.
Good age to die. Still kind of young.
If your name is Wein.
If your name is Wein,
and you die at 69, you're in a good spot.
At 69, and I don't know why. I couldn't find out why. I think he was having health issues. But look, if you don't know the name, you know this man's creations. He created a character named Swamp Thing, co-created with Bernie Wrightson. You may have heard of Swamp Thing.
I create swamp ass all the time.
Yeah, well, that's also very admirable. And it has equally compelling storylines as the Swamp Thing.
It's just as great.
It's just as great. Also co-created a little obscure character. I don't know if you heard of him. His name's Wolverine.
Geek Boner.
Logan.
With John Romita Sr. Yes, of course, first appearance, Hulk 180, 181, as a villain, as a Hulk baddie, a Canadian savage bad guy. But Len was friends with another great legendary comic book writer, Marv Wolfman. These guys came up together in the late 60s at DC, and I guess Len originally wanted to be an artist. And DC was like, you know what? Your stories are better than your drawings. How about you give us some more of those? And the rest is history. He co-creates Swamp Thing in 71 with Bernie Wrightson. And then the biggest thing that he does, he's done so many things, but one of the most influential in terms of modern superhero comics in 1975 with artist Dave Cockrum. Another great name. We got the Wein.
Really, it's like got nothing but great names. Wolfman, Cockrum, and Wein.
Cockrum and Wein. This is why comics rule. Dave Cockrum, Len Wein, they relaunch the X-Men, Giant Size X-Men 1, in which he created Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and he throws in Wolverine into this new team forever. And this is like the beginning of the superhero modern X-Men soap opera shit that Chris Claremont took the ball running and ran with it. Ruggs, how important do you think Giant Size X-Men is to modern comics?
It's a classic issue. It really jump-started X-Men into the new era. It brought more complexity into the team. You got, a flagship character like Wolverine who took over comics after a few years. So it's pretty seminal.
And it wasn't all white people. He had
I was just going to say that issue. I mean, the X-Men were an allegory for Martin Luther King and civil rights movements and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're all white dudes.
And yet they were all rich white guys.
Rich white teenagers.
Throwing in a black girl from Africa.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's German?
German, Colossus, Russian.
Colossus Russian and Wolverine's Canadian. So make it a little more multicultural.
International flair. I mean, its impacts are still felt. Clearly, we wouldn't have had any of these characters. And as far as collecting, this is still a holy grail. I remember when I started collecting.
It is a holy grail comic.
I heard about this, and I wish I had bought it when I was a teenager because it was a lot less. Do you really? Dude, it's worth a lot, and it's
worth some good Skrilla.
Yeah. And I've always wanted that book. I've always heard about this book. Len Wein, also editor on Watchmen. I mean, for Christ's sake, the guy who edited Watchmen, he actually recently returned to write Swamp Thing again when he passed. And as far as being progressive, when they were in their 20s, Len and Wolfman, they almost were going to be credited with creating the first black character at DC on Teen Titans. It was a character named Jericho, and it had to deal with black gangs and white gangs. And the thing was written, it was completed, it was on its way to the printer when Carmine Infantino takes control of DC, and he looks at it, and he's like, we can't do this. And Neil Adams actually fought for them, that he wanted to edit it to tone it back a little. They ended up changing Jericho into Joshua, a white guy, and a bunch of white gangs. But later, Marv Wolfman did get a chance to use Jericho. But they almost had, this is how progressive these guys were in their 20s and where their passion was. Just some of the characters, look, created by Len. Shitload of characters. Anton Arcane from Swamp Thing. Amadeus Arkham, he created. We got Brother Voodoo. Cheetah, Clayface, Copperhead, Cottonmouth, Lucius Fox from Batman. So, like a lot of these guys, he bounced back and forth, Marvel and DC, which a lot of these guys do.
He's into putting multiculturalism into all the books. It sounds like that was his main focus.
They wanted different characters. He created Jigsaw in Punisher, Rocket Racer from Spider-Man, Jamie Madrox in the X-Men, Multiple Man, tons more. I'll put all these links. The guy in the Wrecking Crew, remember the Wrecking Crew from Spider-Man, which was the construction guys and the big bulldozer guy? The guy hugely influential. He's clearly left a legacy in what he did. So we owe a lot of enjoyment to the Len Wein.
69's a good ride, though.
Yeah. Wolfman's still alive. He's 71. So he was a little bit older. A lot of these other guys are still alive. But man, you can't deny Len Wein's legacy. Okay, let's talk about some box office news. A movie that nobody saw here, right? Did you guys see It?
I did not see it.
I did not see it, but I saw the fucking box office, dude. This thing opened huge for an R-rated horror movie and set a lot of records. It made $123 million domestically, $179 worldwide opening weekend.
Oh, shit.
For an R-rated horror movie. Here is some of the records. I'm just going to run through the records it set. Largest opening ever for a horror movie. Largest 3-day opening weekend for an R-rated movie. Third largest opening in 2017, largest opening for a September movie, largest IMAX opening weekend for a movie in September and a horror movie, largest number of locations for R-rated movie, largest opening weekend ever for New Line. Its Thursday previews were 13.5 million, largest Thursday pre-show ever for a horror movie, largest pre-show for an R-rated movie. It beat Deadpool's 12 million Thursday pre-show, which we thought was very impressive. Largest pre-show for a September release, the biggest for New Line, and this was the craziest, I thought. This is the biggest Stephen King opening.
Oh, shit.
From It, and Andres Muschietti, pretty crazy stuff. It's made $217 worldwide right now. It's sitting at $151. Man, those
on a
are some...
budget of $35
$35 million. It only cost $35 million. This thing is killing it. Listener, if you've seen it, send us your thoughts. I've heard that it's not really as scary as it is like creepy, disturbing,
Yeah, that's what I've heard
and
too.
funny, and like actually legitimately funny.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I think they did a really good job marketing this.
Yes.
I thought all the previews were really well done. It is a name that people know from the 90s, early 90s.
Yep.
There's the fear of clowns, and then there's it being a Stephen King thing. I think all of those things combined with pretty good marketing.
You have a lot of the nostalgia factor because it was one of those things that was on TV. It was a TV series or miniseries.
So more people
and we
probably
all
watched
grew
it.
up,
Yeah.
and we all saw it or came in contact with it. Then it became like a dank meme when the internet came out, and everybody was using Pennywise,
Right. Yep.
as like a meme.
Yeah.
And then when the movie trailer came out and people started getting interested in that shit, that meme spread like wildfire all over everywhere. So they started using Pennywise for everything. So they had like that clown sticking out of the sewer like for everything.
Yep.
Like, so I mean, it was in the public consciousness, and a horror movie like this got good reviews. It had good buzz on it. So I'm not surprised it did well, but this is ridiculous.
This is crazy.
I would also throw in too. It's one of the few horror icons, Pennywise, that hasn't been run into the ground.
Yes.
I mean, you look at like Jason, Freddy,
right, Mike
Chucky,
Myers,
even like the girl from The Exorcist, Leatherface, like all those people, Hellraiser, everyone's been run into the ground so much.
Plus, you had, Stranger Things gave us a huge 80s nostalgia, and people just want more of that. So for this to fall in between the Stranger Things seasons, I think one of the kids is in there from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So it's carrying that. Interesting side note, this is IMAX almost missed the boat. It made $7 million opening weekend at IMAX. They almost missed the boat because of the stupid fucking Inhumans.
Oh, shit.
Inhumans was going to be a 2-week run, and then they were like, this thing is huge. It's getting great buzz. We're cutting back the Inhumans to 1 week. It made $2.5 million. That's fine.
It was a good call.
Yes, I think it was a good call. It'd have been, they would have been kicking themselves if
there's going to be a sequel too.
Yeah, sequel's already greenlit. Alamo Draft House, the same theater that gave us the all-woman Wonder Woman screaming that all fucking men had a shit fit on, but for some reason. They did an all-clown screening of it. And I'll put these photos in the show notes, listener. Now, Anthony and I were looking at this, and we both agreed we're not afraid. I'm not one of those people who's afraid of crowns, but this fucking picture, crowns or clowns with crowns. However, this picture of these clowns sitting in the theater is fucking terrifying. A little bit.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Ruggs, would you feel comfortable going to this all-clown screening? Are you looking at this shot?
As a felty, I gotta say that I don't have a good feeling about clowns.
Yeah, do felties and clowns get along?
We don't.
There's a long history. It goes back, I believe.
Yeah, it goes back a long ways. So fuck those clowns. And no, I'm not going to sit in the same theater with a clown.
No, I believe it goes back to the felty red-nosed wars of 1878.
Something like that.
Yeah, you're holding a grudge. You kind of let it go. But man, that's scary. But I love that they do these fun things. The director, this dude Andy Muschietti, he's very busy. Like we said, the sequel's already greenlit.
Well, it has to be 2 parts.
Yes,
right?
because I believe it just ends with the kids, and you got to come back and
you gotta
show
go
them
back to when they're adults. Now.
Yeah, and I think that'll be interesting to see who they cast as the adult people if they're like big names. Somebody said like Jessica Chastain could play one of them. I don't even know if they started casting, but you gotta come back and do the adult bit. He's doing the upcoming pilot for Hulu's Joe Hill adaptation of Lock and Key comic book.
That should be cool.
Yeah, I heard that book is good. I've not read it, but I will.
Very good.
I will watch the show, and then he will be directing Robotech, the live-action Robotech. Anthony, this is before your time, probably for many of the listeners.
Let's get ready for whitewashing and T-minus whatever they start shooting this movie.
It is another fan favorite anime from like the 80s. That was this Robotech for me. I remember waking up every morning to watch it because it was the first cartoon that I saw where the story continued. It was on and like it was a soap opera, and None of the other cartoons like G.I. Joe, Transformer at the time, none of them really did this. This was a show where characters would die, and they would actually stay dead. Unlike G.I. Joe, where the plane explodes and you see a little parachute. Robotech was killing people. So I'm excited for the live action adaptation. And it's also being written.
How do you describe Robotech to people who've never seen it?
So it's kind of like basically the Earth. They built this fleet, this giant spaceship to travel through space, but something happens and they accidentally hyper jump across the universe and they're stuck there. And they kind of have to make their way back. The cool thing about this giant battleship space station is that it was long, but everything in Robotech converted to different things. So when battle time came, this thing could go upright and it kind of looked like a robot. This is also the show that gave us the planes that were like Starscream in Transformers. It was the plane that had the 3 modes. It was a jet plane. Then
Talking about Jetfire.
Jetfire, sorry. It was a jet plane, and then it had arms and legs, and then it was a fully upright robot.
Yeah, Jetfire completely ripped off Robotech.
They ripped off Robotech because I had the Robotech toy, and I was like, this is the coolest thing. And they also had the cool mechs, like these motorcycles that they jump off, and it would become like in their backpack. Really great show. Huge mythology.
That's the most notoriously bad toy that was ever made, too, was the Robotech Cyclone Cycle.
Oh, that never worked.
Which is like, dude, if you were a kid and you went to Toys R Us,
yeah,
this fucking thing looked awesome. It was like this gigantic, I mean, you're talking about like an 8-9-inch figure of a guy and this big motorcycle that would transform into armor around him.
Yep.
And like, be really cool. So you get the fucking thing home, and there's no directions, and if they are in directions, if they're in Japanese and you can't understand the fucking word of it. And so no one could figure out how to transform this thing. Not one person could figure it out. So nobody owns one because they all took it back to Toys R Us and said, give me my money back because I can't fucking figure it out.
And some of those Transformer toys were also, I remember, really hard to figure out how the fuck this thing transforms.
Yeah.
The Jet one was die-cast metal. That was a quality toy. I played the shit out of that one.
I gotta show you. I gotta give you. I want to look up this toy and send it to you. You can see it.
But listeners, if you like anime, you're not familiar with Robotech, highly check it out. The script is also being done with Jason Fuchs, who helped write the story for Wonder Woman. So that's cool. It says here the movie will reportedly revolve around an era when Earth's developed giant robots from the technology of alien spacecraft that crashed on a South Pacific island. The residents of the third planet from the sun are now using that converted tech to fight off an impending alien invasion. Basically, it's Pacific Rim before Pacific Rim. High-tech robots smashing and blasting into things and space fights. It could be a cool live-action movie. I had a huge crush on Lin Min-Mei. Of course, I'm sure nobody's surprised I had a crush on an animated character because real girls wouldn't talk to me. Yeah. Only the animated characters would talk. Oh, this thing looks so cool. The Cyclone.
Isn't it fucking awesome looking? You could not get it to work for shit.
It did not want to transform. Yes, this is from
Put that in the show notes.
This is from the second Robotech saga. Yeah, and it broke itself up into 3 different sagas. There was Macross and then the new something. I forgot what they're called. I had them all on videotape. Good shit, but Andres Muschietti, we'll be hearing a lot more from him.
Andrea Bocelli, one of the 3 tenors. The sexiest one, in my opinion. I don't know.
Geek boner. He's blind.
That's why. He doesn't know how sexy
he is. And rides an alpaca.
He's also riding an alpaca. Other box office news, Spider-Man Homecoming finally opened in the China, where the Chinese people are.
China.
Where where they have Chinese-like things. And it opened huge. $70.8 million opening weekend.
Wow.
Wow, that's huge.
The Middle Kingdom's 3rd best superhero debut ever. They call it the Middle Kingdom. It's interesting.
What's the Middle Kingdom?
I guess China. That's how it's written in this article. They said the Middle. It sounds like some Lord of the Rings thing.
What the fuck are we talking about right now?
China.
The Middle Kingdom.
That's what they're calling it in Hollywood Reporter in this article. They're like the Middle Kingdom's 3rd best superhero debut. They are the Middle Kingdom. This is already beaten the entire China totals of every other Spider-Man film, except for Amazing Spider-Man 2, which went to $94 million. But let's add up the totals and take a little look at the superhero box office for this year. Spider-Man is now at $823 million worldwide. All right, it's made $327 domestic, $495 international. That surpasses Wonder Woman now, which is at $816 to become 6th highest grossing movie of the year. And it may reach Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 level, which is at $863 to become the highest grossing superhero movie of the year, as well as the 4th highest grossing film overall. So there's still...
even though it didn't do as well, I mean, it did pretty good domestically, but even though it didn't do as well as some people had predicted, the international box office is carrying it quite well.
Yeah, domestically, Wonder Woman beat those two movies with 410. And then worldwide, like we said, Guardians is leading with 863. But foreign, Spider-Man rules the foreign, got the most foreign money.
Well, he's definitely the most known character that's around.
Out of the
Guardians.
Marvel's
flagship guy.
Now, if we compare these numbers to the Spider-Man franchise, Homecoming now is the 2nd highest grossing Spider-Man film ever worldwide, not counting for inflation, passing both 2002 Spider-Man and 2004 Spider-Man 2, the two Sam Raimi films.
Well, I think definitely we should consider inflation for 2002.
Yeah, so the 2002 total is 821. So that's very close, but it's still making money. Its run is still out. Spider-Man 2 was 783. Domestically though, it's 4th behind all 3 Raimi films, ahead of the Mark Webb series, and Spider-Man 3 still sitting on top, 890. But they're saying it could make 900 million if it holds strong in China, and it could beat Spider-Man 3, which is crazy. And there's not that much inflation in that.
It's crazy to me that China is rushing to see a movie that's been out since July.
You don't think they pirated this by now?
I guess they don't have it, or I don't know.
The communist lockdown on the fucking BitTorrents.
They must be really locked down over there.
Man, they ate this shit up. So,
it's just funny that they knock off every single other product, but they can't.
But they can't get the movie first.
It's weird.
That's fine. Just blatantly copy anything and resell
They've been watching their fake version.
Don't steal movies.
Of Spider-Man. But don't steal movies. But we will steal your product and sell it on the back of our warehouse to somebody else for half.
Yeah.
But not movies. Well, look, at least some things are sacred there. That's good. So good box office showdown, good numbers for all these movies, really. As low as the summer box office has been, the superhero movies clearly have not been hurting. Some other director news for DCEU. Patty Jenkins officially confirmed returning for a Wonder Woman sequel.
Yay.
Yes, which is awesome. Now,
I thought they were going to get James Cameron to do it.
No, I don't think he liked. This was a complete step backwards, according to the Cameron. But check this out. She was paid for the first movie. I think it says here she was paid about $1 million. For this movie, they're saying the number is closer to 8 to 9 million.
Oh shit.
Which is what Zack Snyder made for Man of Steel, and it would also make her the highest paid female director ever. Good for the Patty Jenkins. That's pretty badass.
There you go.
Well, it's deserved. She has a hit. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I definitely think she deserves that higher. She deserves a raise because she's gonna write, direct, produce. Highest paid female director. That's amazing. It's good stuff. Moving on, we got our first look as Stranger Things David Harbour as the Hellboy. These pictures came out. Everybody was posting them. And at first glance, it's pretty sick. We have one in color where you see he's in heavy shadow. Perfect Mike Mignola shadowy figure. He looks jacked. And I'm sure that's a suit. I don't know how much of that is him, but he's fucking huge.
That's definitely a muscle suit.
It's a very good looking muscle suit. At first I was like, dude got jacked, but I'm like, wait a minute, that can't be fucking him.
No, because he's not that in shape.
He's not. He could have got jacked, but not that jacked.
He looks great. To my eye,
yes,
he looks fucking like Ron Perlman.
He does.
It looks like a sequel to the Ron Perlman movies.
But, you know, in the thing with Ron Perlman is he also just looked like the character. Like, also, Harbour, he just make it look like him, looking like the character. I think that's why
they just made a Ron Perlman man.
I think that's why I like it, is it looks a lot like... He looks
nothing like David Harbour.
No, not at all. There's a lot of prosthetics.
He looks just like Ron Perlman.
Yes. I think he's bigger. I feel like his shoulders are wider.
I think that Ron Perlman was Hellboy, it was actually him. Like there was no
less suits.
There might have been some prosthetics, but it wasn't really a lot.
Perlman is huge.
I think this dude is wearing a muscle suit. This is all prosthetic. There's no way that he looks like fucking as big as Arnold.
I know. Look at his arms. And then that second black and white photo is kind of creepy. I like the mood of it, and it's cool. It almost looks like a horror movie.
They're doing a reboot of this.
Yes.
Are they? And it's still going to be from Hellboy's perspective. I'm not that familiar with Hellboy, to be honest with you.
So this movie,
you've never seen Hellboy?
I saw the first one, and when I saw it, I was a teenager, and it didn't do anything for me because I was a teenager and I don't understand things.
It is amazing. It's on Netflix. You should watch it.
All right.
Definitely worth a rewatch. It is a great movie. So we have a date. Lionsgate officially announced that the Hellboy movie reboot will be hitting U.S. theaters January 11th, 2019. This movie was formerly titled Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen. I don't know if they're still calling it that. It's being co-written by Hellboy comic book creator Mike Mignola, and it will star David Harbour from Stranger Things as Hellboy, as we just said, opposite Resident Evil's own Mila Jovovich as the dangerous Blood Queen. Ian McShane, American Gods and Deadwood star, also co-stars in the movie as Professor Trevor Brutenholm, also known as Professor Bloom, Hellboy's father figure and a mentor at the Supernatural Monster Hunting Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. So the BPRD is kind of where they all work. And it's like monster chasers using monsters to find other monsters.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really know the details of if it'll be.
I don't get why this is being redone. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't know. Like, Hellboy 3 was in production hell for a long time. People really wanted that. Some people still want that.
First Hellboy made $99 million worldwide on a $66 million budget. That's not a great return.
What year was that?
2004. The second Hellboy made $160 million worldwide on an $85 million budget.
No, it's very small and niche-y, but if you were into the comic book, I think they did a good job and gave comic book fans a nice big screen version. It's just a cool character, and there's a lot. It's very dark. It's gothic. Maybe it'll be
check out
R-rated.
the Hellboy again.
I think the first movie is a classic. That's just me.
The second one, I don't even know if I saw the second one. I don't remember.
No, I saw the second one. The second one I've seen a few times, but I think the first one's still just better.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro, once again, puts heart and soul into everything. Yes. Detail, the sets, everything are just fucking top notch. The character is great. He's just this guy that's just he does this shit. He doesn't want to do it, but who else is going to do it? And he does it with a wink and a nod, but there's also some really great CG, some great practical effects, and there's some nice banter between him and Abe Sapien. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, the prosthetics, the costumes they use are great.
The bad guy is cool, Rasputin, it's good.
There's also that great story in the Drew Struzan doc about the poster. Drew did a poster for Hellboy. The studio, for some fucking reason, didn't use it. I don't know why they would. And Guillermo bought it for himself because he felt so bad. But I don't know why you wouldn't use a fucking Drew Struzan piece of art for your movie. It's a dumb move. Also, his Guillermo del Toro's what is that? The Merman movie trailer?
Yeah, the water of something. The shape of water.
Shape of water.
That one looks crazy.
That looks cool, and that character looks a lot like a little bit Abe Sapien.
No, I think it's definitely an Abe Sapien type of allegory because the design is really dead on the same.
That movie looks amazing. Great, weird time. It's set in the 30s. And it looks really good. Guillermo del Toro, you can trust anything he's going to do is going to be
I think
quality.
I like every one of his movies. I mean, some of them are better than others, but I feel like each one of them is artistic and it has merit and worth watching.
Pan's Labyrinth, just gorgeous and so imaginative. All those characters and creatures. Holy shit. That alone is worth watching.
So I hope this new Hellboy is anywhere near as good as that.
I think it's being directed by Neil Marshall.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's pretty good. I like Doomsday.
What else did he do? I forgot what he did.
He did The Descent and Doomsday.
Oh, okay.
And he directed a lot of Game of Thrones, I think.
And I mean, David Harbour, look, he looks great. I think he's a really good actor. From what I've seen in Stranger Things, good cast. You got Mila Jovovich. That's always good.
Sure, that she helps.
So this leads in a little bit to some follow-up shit from last episode that I have for you. Specifically, Ed Skrein exiting Hellboy because he didn't know he was supposed to be playing an Asian American character and then did the right thing. Daniel Day Kim to replace Ed Skrein in the Hellboy reboot as Major Ben Diamo. So that's cool. That's a good pick.
Yeah, he's Asian.
He is Asian. He's very
Asian
good.
enough.
He's just Asian enough. His name is Daniel, but it's also Kim. So
there is the I read some stuff where it is the controversy of him being Korean and the guy is Japanese.
Oh, well, now you're just getting fucking...
Fuck him.
But-
He's out. Where are my social justice warriors?
You're not the right kind of Asian.
But I would argue
They're
that
not all the same.
I would argue that there's tons of white people that are cast in Italian and English roles
Look,
that are
it's
not
a
at all.
start. That's fine. It's a start. That's close enough.
Yeah,
Well
how
done.
many Jews have been playing Italians? How many Italians have been playing Jews?
Exactly.
Nobody knows.
Well, there's a lot of I was reading about this. There's a lot of controversy or stuff about Aladdin's casting because they're trying to cast.
That's a tricky one.
They're trying to cast something that's ethnically in line with what it was, but they put out there that they were looking for Indian or Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And of Middle Eastern descent, and people were like,
Those are two separate different things.
Yeah, that's two different things. That's two different cultures that you're trying to merge now into one.
Then we're like, we're actually looking for white people who look Middle Eastern.
It doesn't. This is a weird way of thinking, and you might disagree, but as long as the person looks the part, and it's not like you're taking a white person and putting makeup on them to look a certain way,
Right.
like someone who naturally looks the part,
right?
I think you're good.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Selena came out? J-Lo played Selena, and Selena was Mexican, and she was Puerto Rican. Everybody, but it doesn't matter. She looked like Selena.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, if she looks like Selena, then it's fine. If she looks like the part, like, why is people? As long as it looks accurate, then people should be cool with it.
You know, I think I'm a good example of this, and it's pretty ironic because people like I could play a Greek dude, I could play a Jewish dude, I could play an Italian dude, I could play anything but what I actually am. If I was cast as a Pakistani, there would be an uproar.
Oh shit!
I would be mobbed. They'd be like,
But you're actually Pakistani.
absolutely, but I don't look it. But I can play all these other white races. It's just I always thought that was funny. Daniel Day Kim though applauded the producers. He actually said, "I applaud the producers and in particular Ed Skrein for championing the notion that Asian characters should be played by Asian or Asian American actors. He could not have addressed the issue more elegantly, and I remain indebted to him for his strength of character."
The next one that's going to get under the microscope, if it already isn't, is Aladdin.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but once this thing starts shooting and there's production, this is going to be interesting. I don't even know who got cast. I think they picked...
They haven't picked a guy.
Oh, they haven't.
I know they were looking at Riz Ahmed and that, and then people were like, well, how come you're just looking at the popular names? There's a bunch of people in Bollywood that sing and dance, but who knows what they're
You just
looking
need
for.
No one's ever happy.
No. He's just need a brown guy. But if you look at the cartoon, that guy was barely Arab looking. And the girl also. I mean, these are cartoons.
What I don't even know where is Aladdin supposed to be?
It was some made up fucking land. I don't know. It's generic Middle East place. It could be Egypt,
Middle
could be
Eastern,
Saudi
but
Arabia.
it also could be like India.
Yeah.
Or Pakistan, which isn't technically Middle East.
It's very vague. It could be any of those. That's going to be, that live action is going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
I've yet to watch any of these live action Disney fucking redos. I am not giving them any more money. That's cheating.
I looked up a thing so the Aladdin story.
Yeah.
The names and the identities of the characters seem to indicate they are Muslim and from the Middle East. But while the story mentions a city in China.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, those are definitely like Arabic Muslim names. So that's what they were going for.
Right.
But wow, it does mention China.
Why don't they just cast a whole bunch of Indonesians? They're all Muslim.
Yeah, that works.
Right.
Actually, the biggest population of Muslims are Indonesians. It's not Arabs. It's not Pakis. It's fucking it's Asian. It's Indonesians. Yeah. So good for the Daniel Day Kim getting a job.
I got us on a tangent there. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
That's good.
More follow up from last episode.
Oh shit! More.
Kathleen,
I saw this.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy unceremonially fires Colin Trevorrow who directed the Jurassic World from Star Wars Episode 9, citing mutual differences. And I asked you guys, does this sound like he got fired or was it really mutual? Apparently, Colin was a little bit hard to work with.
Star Wars, let's just get into this. We're hearing the production side of it.
Yes.
Now that this is a pattern of them not only firing people, but then not directly, but indirectly having stuff leak out that this person sucks. They do this now every time.
Right afterwards. That is a good point. Yeah, so look, they fired 4 directors. They've actually fired 12 writers also since all of this has started over the course.
You look at like the stuff that came out on Edwards. You look at the stuff that came out on Lord and Miller.
This brilliant
now
PR they put out.
Basically, if you fuck up on these movies, you're ruined.
They're out to just make you look real bad.
You'll never get a job again. So this just says reports. They don't say unnamed Hollywood exec said, this is what they said about Trevorrow. During the making of Jurassic World, he focused a great deal of his creative energies on asserting his opinion. But because he'd been personally hired by Spielberg, nobody could say you're fired. Once that film went through the roof and he chose to do Henry, Trevorrow was unbearable. Book of Henry, which is the movie that came out that bombed. He had an egotistical point of view, and he was always asserting that. When the reviews for Book of Henry came out, there was immediately conjecture that Kathy was going to dump him because they weren't thrilled with working with him anyway. He's a difficult guy. He's really, really, really confident. Let's call it that. The guy goes on to say where the problem lies. He says there's one gatekeeper when it comes to Star Wars, and it's Kathleen Kennedy. If you rub Kathleen Kennedy the wrong way, in any way, you're out. You're done. A lot of these young new directors want to come in and say, I want to do this. I want to do that. A lot of these guys, Lord Miller, Colin Trevorrow, got very rich very fast and believed a lot of their own hype. And they don't want to go play by the rules. They want to do shit differently. And Kathleen Kennedy isn't going to fuck around with that. Wow.
See, I look at like Marvel and I've even looked at like DC and how they've had directors that have come in and they've had parted ways. And it's been handled a lot classier, in my opinion, than a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's the same company.
It's the same company, but I just the ship that Kathleen Kennedy runs is very different.
Yeah.
I can't think of another place where they just smear all their directors all the time that work with them.
That's true.
Like, fuck you.
I didn't even realize that pattern.
Like Marvel had, they had issues with Edgar Wright and DC with they had issues with some of their directors for The Flash.
All of them. Yeah.
They never really heard like them just outright smear their people. And this isn't coming directly from Kathleen Kennedy, but it might as well be. Who else is leaking this stuff?
Yeah. No. Who else would? Who else?
And it's a pattern.
Who else gains by leaking
like
this?
Like Rugboy said,
Lucasfilm.
This is like a big risk because you have to like direct Star Wars under these rules, and if you don't do it the right way, they're gonna fuck you.
Look, and this is sending a signal to these young up-and-coming guys who think they're hot shit, like, we're going to steer clear of this. You may have wanted to direct a Star Wars movie.
This is coming from someone that I didn't think Colin Trevorrow was that good anyways. Right. But still, I'm like, this is not classy.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we all knew that this Trevorrow guy made a big blockbuster, but it wasn't really to his credit. Like, it was totally the property that rose to that level of success.
Yes.
So for him to like be all fucking high and suck his own dick, like it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little
He's got to have some humility knowing that it really wasn't him. Because everybody was saying how dumb the movie was.
Yeah, but like,
and it made money.
You get hired by Spielberg and your head gets, it's very interesting. Like it's
just weird
sides.
To me that everyone that works for Star Wars comes out and they're suddenly the worst people in the work with in the world.
It's like Will Smith's kids.
Jaden.
Like they think that they can just do whatever they want.
Batman. Look, this is still very much run by the old guard.
You see what I'm saying? Can all these directors suck? Are they all bad people?
All hard to work with? Are they all they're just not following orders. That's all it is. They're not following orders. And when Kathleen Kennedy may have said she wanted to have fresh...
It's clearly her ship.
Like,
yes.
I don't know.
I do not want fresh takes on
I think that Edwards is a good choice, but 21 Jump Street guy's not a good choice, and this guy definitely not a good choice.
No, true. I would say that too, and Trank definitely not a good choice after seeing Fantastic Four.
Yeah, well, that one.
But you know what? Chronicle was a good movie, and I don't know. It's like I don't think that he should be given I don't think he should be doing franchise films. That's not as bad.
I mean, I think
let him do his own stuff.
That's the problem with a lot of these guys is they're getting into these really big franchise films way too soon.
I think Trank has more talent than Trevorrow.
I will agree with that.
And I think he's got more talent than the 21 Drum Street guys.
They just it all depends on the situation and the environment.
It seems to me that there's a lack of communication up front of what each person is going to bring to the table.
Oh, clearly. Because this keeps happening over and
over. It's so strange.
So we talked about what names were up for possibly directing.
They went with the safest route possible.
Picked a person. Was it a woman? Was it a person of color? Perhaps.
That to me doesn't matter. But okay, keep going.
Was it another white dude?
Was it the best person for the job?
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. Of course, who they got is a JJ Lens Flare Abrams.
JJ, let's play it safe, Abrams.
Let's play it safe. And now this set, Star Wars fans completely went crazy on both sides. I mean, I think I know which way I lean. Of course, he directed Force Awakens, which we thought was just, it was it was Star Wars redone. It was A New Hope. It was just the same hits over and over again. He cops a lot of Spielberg. He's kind of like a fan film guy. He cops a lot of stuff that he loves. The originality being there, debatable.
I'll leave this mostly up to you, but I'll say that Force Awakens was entertaining for me as a new fan.
Okay.
So it did its job for me, but
it did its job.
After everything I heard from you guys and other Star Wars fans, there's people that really love JJ, and there's people that are like, he just played that shit safe as fuck. And they say the same thing about Star Trek too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he kind of changed Star Trek from what it was supposed to be, which is kind of like a brainy, intellectual sci-fi thing, to just like a big budget action film kind of thing, which is really not Star Trek. It was entertaining. I did enjoy the first Star Trek.
It's still entertaining, and it's still kind of in the same genre.
Yeah.
It's just they did drop a lot of the super high intellectual stuff that's not accessible to the new generation. So
correct. So
and he did a nice job of doing that time travel loop so that it connects to Nimrod?
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, so that it all is kind of connected. So everyone's like, "Oh,
Leonard
that feels
Nimrod,
good."
Leonard Nimrod. So Abrams is also going to be co-writing this with Chris Terrio and Netflix.
Real quick, how do you guys feel about it?
I don't know. I don't want him to give us Return of the Jedi again. That's the only thing I'm afraid of.
Is that the third one?
That's the third one.
I want to see what Ryan Johnson does before I make this decision.
Okay.
That's also
the thing, because we don't know where the story's going, so he could leave it in a place where JJ can't do something like that.
Right. On the other hand, it's he gets to cap this trilogy, and this is if he did not want to go safe and he wanted to push this, he's writing this with Terrio. They could do this here.
It's going to be a repeat of the original trilogy where like the middle one is the dark, awesome one. Right. And then like the third one is fan service.
The third one's all, and then it's all
Was it the first one fan service though? Not of the original, but of this.
Oh, yeah.
Two fan service
it's like
movies.
A fan service sandwich.
Yes.
Let's bookend it.
With like some crazy shit in the middle.
I know one guy that doesn't like this.
Yes.
And I don't even have to ask him.
No,
John
I know.
Bellotti Jr.
Yes, he already told us. And I know a lot of fans feel this way, but it's like the Ron Howard pick on the Han Solo movie.
I would say
it's
most
safe.
of the fans, I would say I don't have a poll, but I'd say it's what it seems like most of the fans are like, okay, cool. I'm down with that.
I mean, a lot of people like everything JJ. I don't know. It's good. The script is going to be what's important. He's writing it with Terrio, who wrote Argo, who also wrote on Batman vs. Superman, who's writing on Justice League. But I feel like Terrio himself, outside of Zack Snyder influence, is not a bad writer. I think they can pull this off. So the other thing this thing did now with all this moving and shaking is it pushed back the release date.
Uh-oh.
It was supposed to come out in May of 2019, May 24th. It's been pushed to December 20th, 2019.
Well, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
If it went in May 24th, it wouldn't directly compete, but the first movie to come out that month was Avengers Infinity War.
Well, the first movie to come out in December is the Wonder Woman sequel. Oh, shit.
Well, at least they're not competing. Disney's not competing with itself.
Oh, that's a good point. But it will have to.
Yeah, you don't want to do
it
that.
will have to. Like, I think Wonder Woman comes out a week before. Also, they noted that this will be the fourth script for episode 9, which now, look, movies get rewritten scripts all the time. Nothing new, but the story, the way these versions have gone are kind of crazy because the first episode was written by then director Colin Trevorrow, along with his writing partner Derek Connolly. This script was affected by Carrie Fisher's death in December of 2016. So Leia was going to be in the forefront of episode 9, so they had to change all of that. So then they hire Jack Thorne, British screenwriter, to rework that script. And then now he leaves, so that's all gone. And JJ and Terrio are going to write another script for this movie. But yeah, I mean, it's so far out, and we really do have to see what episode 8 does. And I kind of wish Rian Johnson got the gig instead of
Well,
the JJ.
you haven't seen his movie yet.
No, we haven't. But I feel like you know what you're going to get with J.J. Abrams unless he really does something to step it
Well,
up.
according to the Star Wars people, Rian Johnson did a fine job.
Yeah, no one's.
According to the Star Wars people, J.J. Abrams did a fine job. So they're probably on the same level.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Oh boy, so we might be getting an Empire Strikes Back again, come December. Interesting stuff, but man, this Lucasfilm is starting to look a lot like Warner Brothers. They don't fucking this, and the point you made, Anthony, I did not even think about that.
Yeah, but they make their movies. They still make their movies.
They still make their movies. They make what they announce, and they don't announce shit willy-nilly every other month.
They're not fucking scrambling to reinvent the wheel. They're just like, we want this done.
Correct.
I don't care how many motherfuckers we got to fire to get this done, but we're getting this shit done.
Kathleen Kennedy does not take shit, so you gotta give her that.
She's like, fuck off. Like, no, get the fuck out of here.
We're gonna do it. You know what? We don't need you.
I want Ewoks.
The next time this happens, she's gonna be like, you know what? I'm fucking directing this myself. Everybody go home. I will do everything.
She's like, I want my cute Groot. I want my fucking Ewok. Let's do it.
I will do the costumes. I will do the special effects. Everyone's fired. I'll do it on my iMac. It's fine. Go home.
I want something. Imagine that's what the argument is about, really. That Kathleen Kennedy wants her own little cute Groot that'll dance to music and shit while the beginning of the Star Wars movie starts.
The whole thing is over a cute Ewok type. Well, they got Porgs in the second one, the little fucking fluffy trouble-looking thing. Maybe they'll have Blorgs or some shit.
Oh, maybe it's about a Porg.
Maybe it's about a Porg that's like really big.
They're like the new Ewoks.
They are. They're too cute.
They're like Furbies.
See, I think the Porgs might ruin it. I don't know.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, neither do I.
December. Nobody knows. Speaking of Warner Brothers, another follow-up from last week. We talked about how they want to make a Joker origin movie produced by Scorsese. And hopefully to get Scorsese to convince DiCaprio to play the Joker, which I don't think will ever happen. It's fucking cool. But apparently, Stanley is neighbors with Leonardo DiCaprio, and Leo has told him he would love to play Stan in a biopic. Geek boner. Which I think they should do. I would love to see a shared universe of comic book creator movies. Like,
I would love to see both of those movies.
Right? Like, give me the Joker and give me the Stanley. They should come out
against each other on the same day.
That would be great. Stan said, believe it or not, I've already discussed it with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's a neighbor of mine. We were talking one day some months ago, and he said, boy, it'd be fun to do your story on the screen. So I said, well, I'll audition you. Got to make sure the guy can do it. I always thought the Bryan Cranston would be a really good Stan Lee.
Yeah, he'd be good.
And then in this article, they actually have a picture of Mark Maron from Glow, and he looks a lot like Stan Lee back in the day also.
That's right.
Maron could pull it off. But I thought that, and then also I found that fan art. Ruggs, this was the fan art I was talking about, done by Boss Logic, at Boss Logic on Twitter.
Boss Logic's pretty good.
He's very good.
Does a lot of videos too.
Some messing around with Leonardo DiCaprio's Joker with at comicbook.com. I think I went too scary. I can see that. That's a pretty sick fan art of DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good compared to the shit that I pulled out.
Did you see the one where it looked like Batman 66? Is that what you saw? Because there's one.
I just saw some fucking amateur hour Photoshop that was like bullshit, and I was like, "Fuck."
That's what Imran was actually referring to. He waited a week and he found something better.
This is the exact one I think this is as close as we're gonna get to ever see.
Good save, Imran.
DiCaprio.
Thank you to Boss Logic for fucking
good on you, boss.
For pulling you out of being a total tool.
Yes. All right. Well. That's it for the news for now. We're going to take a quick break, play some promos of some indie pods, and come back and review some awesome and somewhat so-so television.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Trivia Geeks, the Unpredictable Game Show podcast, is back with a brand new season. They've got a new host, new games, and a new day and time. But that's not all. Now you can download their companion app, Triv Now, and play along in real time. Watch Carrie on YouTube as she tries to convince her partner that his Dark Knight hasn't risen in years. Listen on Diamond Club and Alpha Geek Radio, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can also follow the show on Facebook and Twitter and get all the latest updates and showtimes.
My name is Carrie Sims, and I host Sketching Comedy with my artist friends Imran Javed.
Hey, that's me.
And Phil Rude each week live on YouTube. Hang out with us as I learn and discuss the legends of comic book art and comedians while the fellows are creating live drawings during the show. I learned Stan Lee defied the Comic Code Authority with an anti-drug comic.
That's right, Carrie, but did you know the Hulk wasn't supposed to be green? He was supposed to be gray. The printer screwed it up.
Visit BlazingCaribouStudio.com or tune in each week on our YouTube channel and download the podcast at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever podcasts are found.
Sketch you later.
Are you a fan of movies?
Or comics?
Or video games?
Or just anything else nerdy?
Well, you should check out the Zing This Podcast. And that's spelled
Z-E-N-G.
This. And you can find us every Monday. And we have nerdy topics from comic book reviews to in-depth analysis of iconic nerdy movies, as well as video game discussions. Mm-hmm. Where's some of the best places to find us, Allie?
Well, Podbean, of course.
You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play.
Anywhere else you listen to your podcast. Yeah.
So check us out. Once again, that is Zing This.
Doc and Nerd.
Hey, listener, thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for listening. There's more show to be consumed if you join our awesome fan club. Over on Patreon, just visit jockanerd.com/Patreon. Sign up as little as $1 a month. You'll get access to hours and hours of bonus content. You get a whole podcast feed just for you, just for our Patreon subscribers. We thank everyone who supports us now. If you want to get a sample of what's up there, of the kind of bonus content you want to try before you buy, listener, I got a free clip up right now, a little pre-show audio from last week. Where, let me explain what we do. We sign into this thing. It's a browser-based recorder called Cast, where everyone has to write their name and they sign in. Well, Mr. Smarty Pants Anthony here.
Hello.
Every week. Hello. Every week he's coming with a new name that's like has my name in it, and then it's a playoff, like either being a terrorist or being an idiot, or
it basically jumpstarts me making fun of Imran and Anthony making fun of Imran from the beginning of the show. And so it's a great way to start and get warmed up.
Lubes you up a little bit.
Just
start ripping on Imran.
This is so last week you signed in as Imranistan, and it turned into like a whole thing about the country of Imranistan, which was really funny. Today, listener, is Anthony signed in a choice. Will you tell the listener what you signed in as, Anthony?
Imrantan, as if, wonton.
Yes, like you're at a Chinese restaurant and you're making, let me get some chop suey. Let me get Imrantan soup. Let me get some dumplings, 7 Imrantans, and some duck sauce.
And then I had to do it.
And then Rug Boy follows suit, and he signs in as Ramrod.
Oh, shit.
So here's the thing. I download these files. These are the names on the files. This doesn't make things confusing at all when I'm looking at 3 files with my name and trying to figure out which fucking guy is on which.
Would you name yourself Ramrod Javed?
No, I would not.
No.
Nimrod, maybe, because Nimrod means hunter. Ramrod, though, that's a good porn name.
That's a porn name.
Yeah, I should go with that. Hey, baby, I'm Ramrod. Nice to meet you. There's also a new post show with more Game of Thrones talk. And listener, if it sounds like we're a little bit obsessed with the Game of Thrones, it's because we're a little bit obsessed with the Game of Thrones.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. And with good reason, because it's awesome. Also, another cool thing, if you sign up for the Patreon, I will plug your shit. I will promote anything you want. For example, our buddy, listener, David Malofsky from A Place to Hang Your Cape has got a great podcast with the exasperated Brit, Scott Meridew. They've both been on the show, Podcapers. Their latest episode, I'll put a link to this in the show notes. They got an interview with the one and only awesome artist, Dave Gibbons.
Geek Boner.
On the show, Dave and this other guy have written a book called How Comics Work. And it's coming out, and it's kind of like his version of breaking down storytelling and making comics, kind of like Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. It's not really like, here's how you draw things. It's like, here's the structure, storytelling, here's the keys you need. There's a lot of unused sketches of Dave Gibbons. He saves everything, apparently, like all sketches from everywhere in this book. I listened to the interview. It was very good, and I've already pre-ordered the book off of Amazon. I'll let you guys know how good it is. I think I will enjoy it. I love books like that. So check it out. Podcapers.
Ooh, I might check that out.
Episode 30. Link in the show notes at jockandnerd.com/Wayne86. Let's get into a couple of television reviews.
Spoiler alert.
We're going to start with, real quick, just for a few minutes, the Orville pilot.
Ooh,
Seth
my favorite.
MacFarlane's. Yes, you didn't even watch this.
I thought this was going to be about popcorn.
Yes, I thought it was about Orville Redenbacher, the legendary popcorn magnet. It's nothing about that. Seth MacFarlane's sci-fi space comedy thing that doesn't really know what it is. The pilot aired right after football. Had a big lead in, so it's good for the pilot. Ruggs, you watch this?
Yeah.
I watch this too. And
Anthony
did not watch.
No. Could give two shits about
Good for
this.
you.
Look, I was excited because,
You messaged us to watch the Orville, and I immediately responded, why am I watching the Orville?
I was like, Seth MacFarlane. It's a big thing. It was on. It was after football. I was like, oh, here's the Orville. I like the trailer. It's got Adrian Palicki from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Ruggs, what are your thoughts on the pilot?
It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it needed work.
Yes, as a pilot, it was just okay. So there's a lot of potential there.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here's the rundown.
It's got potential. It's got good production value. The makeup is pretty decent. The makeup jobs are pretty decent. And it's better than it should be for this type of show, which is lampooning or supposed to be a satire or a parody. I can't tell which it's supposed to be.
Yes.
But it seems like more of like a straight up version of Star Trek, but like a shittier crew.
Yeah.
That just that it's a little bit lighter in tone, but it's basically like you take like the worst, like not the worst, but like a shitty version of like Captain Jean-Luc Picard and his crew, and they're inept in a lot of ways, and they don't take their job seriously. So like, let's say you're doing like a show about clerks,
right?
Like there's clerks that just go to work and they're boring and they do their job.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that are real assholes and they have good banter
Yeah.
and whatever. This is, for some reason, this crew has good banter. And
like that movie Waiting about the service industry.
Yeah.
No, I'll agree. Look, here's what I like. Like, I like Seth MacFarlane's gross out humor at times. And it opens with a really, I laughed out loud a couple times, especially in the beginning where he walks in on his wife. She's cheating on him. It's Adrian Palicki, who was Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., cheating on him with a blue alien guy who's got like scales on his face. And the punchline of the scene is this alien ejaculates this blue liquid all over her in the sheets. Like he was holding it in while he was yelling at him and he just like fucking spasmed over him. That was kind of funny. There's a couple of gross out bits, but I'll agree. The problem is I'm not sure what the show is supposed to be. Is it a parody? If so, it's not quite what Spaceballs did for Star Trek, because I thought it was going to be the Spaceballs of Star Trek.
I don't want it to be Spaceballs.
Okay, but
you can't sustain that kind of like nonsense,
right? Not for
time.
Not for a whole series. Oh, then will it have like the heart and humor of like a Galaxy Quest? And it kind of tried that too. Like the jokes were okay, they were hit or miss, and even the drama parts were okay. But it does feel like a light Star Trek Next Generation. Like if Star Trek Next Generation was like a comedy drama, this is what this would be. I will keep watching because I think it does have potential. And I did, I chuckled hard once or twice, but it was just all right. It was all right.
I think this is like kind of like what Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did. They went a little too cutesy, and it kind of, you can't tell where it's supposed to go. It's not slapstick or whatever up to be a comedy, but it's kind of too cutesy to be taken seriously. If they were to kind of give it a little bit more of an edge, I would like it more, I think.
Well, and you can tell Seth is a big Star Trek fan and geek, and this is kind of like a tribute to Star Trek instead of taking that and kind of making it edgy or pushing it one way or the other. I was like, I don't know what this show wants to be right now.
I don't know. I find it to be a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a couple more episodes to see if it pans out, but it's not like I hate it right off the bat. I'm just like, it's not, I can't recommend it to anyone.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It was fun. It's definitely, it has a lot of work to do. So I'll be curious to see the next couple.
Very shaky
start, but does have some promise. Side note, I mentioned Adrian Palicki, Bobby Morris, as they wrote her and Lance Hunter out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For their own spinoff, which they never got. Palicki lands on this show, and guess what? Lance Hunter coming back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5. Oh, shit. He will be back on the show.
Well, once this show gets canceled, she'll be back on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they'll write her back in a second. So I don't know if this thing will make it past a season. It needs to be seen. So, all right, let's get to some good fucking television, which is Game of Thrones season 2. I'm going to start it off like this.
Let's spoil some shit, Batman.
Let me jump in here.
Yes.
So, for the listener that hasn't been listening, we've started watching this. We're basing this off of where Imran is at. So he just finished season 2.
Yep.
I, on the other hand, am at season 4, episode 2.
Man,
I'm a little bit further ahead, but I will dumb myself down and talk about things that Imran wants to talk about.
Season 4, and we will get into some watch updates from our listeners who have been awesome, and they're kind of coming along the ride with us. Some on the same pace as Anthony, some on my pace. So yes, we're going to talk about the second season of Game of Thrones, and I don't know what to say because first episode right off the bat, they're killing babies, people. They're fucking killing babies, and I'm like, this show is nuts. Who kills babies? Basically, what you guys said was so true. Joffrey killing Ned Stark is the catalyst for all the power
for the
vacuum.
Game of Thrones.
It's this game has begun. Joffrey sitting there, and then you got, the Baratheon brothers are coming and want to get it one way. Daenerys is like, I should be on the throne. Robb Stark wants to try to come down and take the throne his way. It's just a matter of who's going to get there first, who gets beaten away, who's remaining
also forgetting
standing.
About Balon Greyjoy.
Oh, and then you got Theon Greyjoy.
Balon, his dad.
And his dad, Balon. And also in the beginning, it was very weird because the first season, Theon and Robb Stark are like brothers. He's the guy that he's not a Stark, but they I guess Ned killed all of Theon's brothers and took him in, but didn't treat him like a slave, treated him like a son, kind of raised him. And, but then he turns. Theon's like, I'm done. He takes off. He goes to, we meet some new locations like Pike and Karth, and Pike is where the Greyjoys are. And you meet his sister. So the season builds up to an amazing battle in episode 9. Episode 9 was amazing. Episode titled Blackwater, where Stannis Baratheon finally gets to the shores of King's Landing, and they're fighting him back. And then, of course, episode 10 gives you some White Walkers. There's more magic. Daenerys and her dragons. I don't even know how to talk about this season, but I thought we could just go through the characters because these are some of the most interesting character relationships I've seen on television. Amazing dialogue.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Imran's narrating everything for us.
Yeah.
Somebody save me.
So I think at this point, when Game of Thrones starts kicking into season 2, this is where I started to get a little confused because they keep on introducing old white guys that look exactly the
I
same.
will agree. Yes, that's the problem.
They're like these old white dudes with long white hair, and I'm like, is that Theon's dad or is that Theon's dad?
There's Roderick, there's Pycelle, there's that other dude with the brand, the Stark kids. I'm like, these fucking guys all look alike. They're all wearing
don't forget about Aegon up at the crown at the.
Let's get creative with some facial hair, motherfuckers. Let's do some mustaches.
They did chop that one dude's beard off. That was pretty funny. But yeah, that was also confusing. Was all the different people. But
did you like? All right, let me rein you in a little bit, Imran, because you're going to go off and narrate.
I'm all over the place.
Something that happened 5 years ago.
I know.
Did you like it more than season 1?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying it gets better and better.
Who are your favorite guys?
Is absolutely true. Wow. There's too many guys and okay, we can start. Let's just start with Arya Stark. Arya Stark, who at the end of last season escapes, and then the dude who saves her gets killed. Everybody gets killed. And they're on their way north, right? When they're captured.
Yes, so they were on their way with I forgot one of the
bastard kids.
No, well,
Baratheon bastards.
Yeah, well, no, they were on the way with the Night's Watch guy going up, and he was going to take them to Winterfell.
And that one fat kid's name is Hot Pie, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
I love his name. He's so great. But yeah, that one, the Ironsmith dude, that's why they were killing the babies. They were killing all of Robert Baratheon's bastard kids.
Joffrey
so that the Lannisters
ordered for all the bastards to go.
Joffrey is such a bastard. So Arya...
Well, he's not a bastard. He's just...
No, he's actually not a bastard. He's an incest boy.
Yeah, he's an incest.
He's an incestard. Yeah. He's an incestard. But Arya ends up as the what do they call her? The cup bearer to
Tywin. Yeah, those were great sequences when she's trying to let on that she's not as smart as she is. But Tywin, they're playing this game where they both know what's up, but Tywin doesn't know what fully is up yet.
Yeah, that's, I think, really is interesting. As the season progresses, he figures out that she's really smart. She can read. She's also observing highborn. Everything. She's highborn because the way she says "my lord" as opposed to "my lord." So at first I was like, is Tywin on to her? I think he's on to the fact that she's not who she says he is. But holy shit, if he knew he had a Stark kid right there the whole time, the man would lose his shit. And I was like, you have no idea who you have, dude. In the meantime, Arya has made friends with this other dude, Jaqen Hagar, who is also pretty awesome.
That was probably one of my favorite things from season 2.
That was great. What is the reason? He gives her 3 hits.
He gives her 3 hits because she saved him when there was a fire when they were trapped. So she saved him.
Oh, that's right. They were in the cage. Yeah. They were the cage kids, and she gave him the axe. So he's like, 3 names I will give the girl. The girl must give name. So good. So the first name, I can't remember who the first name is, but
it was the guy that was torturing people.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I also love when she's in the cage and she's repeating her hit list over and over.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty important.
What was it? It's Cersei Lannister.
She was like Cersei, Joffrey, Ellen Payne, the Hound. Yeah. And then she was adding names to it.
She was adding names. So this little girl, she's fucking calling hits on people. She's calling hits. She goes, and one of the king's guards is almost about to rat her out. She's like, "You got to kill him now." The guy shows up at Tywin's door, and then boom, he's down with a dart. And I'm like, man, this guy gets away with a lot of killing. And you find out at the end where the magic, he's from out east. Like all the magic is in the outside, out east, out north. He's from Bravos, the city of free people. He gives her a coin at the end. And he's like, if you need me, go to Bravos and ask for Valis Morghulis. He turns his head away, turns his head back, and he's another fucking person. Oh, shit. His face is completely different.
Wait till you see what comes next.
That's brilliant because that actually explains how he's able to just kill people willy-nilly. Like, he told them, she's like, I need to get out of the gate. That was great, where the last name she gave was his name.
That was awesome.
And he's like, girl has no honor. What are you doing? Although, if that was me, I would have been like, okay, I choose to kill that person by old age. So that's how he's going to die. Don't worry about it. But she's like, look, get us out and I will take it back. And he's like, just walk through the gates at midnight. Fucking the guards are just dead, stuck to the wall, and they just walk out. It's fantastic.
That was good. I thought it was
that guy. Yeah, Arya's course was great. I also enjoyed the Hound a lot this season. The Hound and Bronn.
Yeah, but you see, like Like, this is the great thing about the show. These are characters you should hate, but now you like the Hound.
Yes.
You like Bronn.
Yes.
Bronn's on the wrong side of things, but you like him.
I'm so confused as who I'm supposed to root for. It's a lot like The Sopranos. Like, you stop to think, like, these are fucking sociopathic murderers, and I love all of them.
The funny thing, too, is we should be rooting for Stannis, because Stannis...
Oh, he's the worst.
Well, but the thing is, Stannis is the rightful heir. That is his throne. Yet, Stannis, the way he's portrayed... He's such a religious zealot with Melisandre that we're like, so for that episode 9 when they finally invade Blackwater, you should be rooting for Stannis, but you're not rooting for Stannis, but you should be, but then you're rooting for Tyrion, but he's a fucking Lannister, so you really don't know what the fuck you should be rooting for, which is what makes that episode really awesome.
Oh, the whole thing is confusing, and as far as Tyrion being a Lannister, he's like the least Lannister. In fact, Cersei tried to fucking kill him, and I got really nervous when he got cut in the face. I was like, oh no, he's got to survive. And,
let me bring up Tyrion's speech at that point.
Oh, that's great.
Is really good. The line where he's like, there are brave men knocking at your door out there. Let's go out there and kill them. And they all just go crazy for him. I'm like, that's fucking amazing. And right before that, you have Joffrey just being a little punk and like finding a way to like the dynamic of Joffrey just running away the first chance he gets, where Stannis is like the first guy climbing up the ladder to invade, is like two totally different fucking leaders.
9 was great, and because Joffrey's mom was calling him. The sound mix is amazing because as Joffrey leaves, you hear in the background the dissent in the crowd. And then that moment where Tyrion says, I will lead the attack. And then you hear people going, they're laughing at him, they're making fun of him, they're snickering. And then he has that great speech because he knows about the tunnels, which is, I guess, how they got out and around them. He got the secret tunnels.
Yeah. I did some research on episode 9, and they HBO gave them a bigger budget. Because they were, up to that point, if you notice, all the battles happened off screen. So this was the first episode where the battle happened on screen, and it never cut away from one spot.
I think Neil Marshall directed that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They did a really good job with that, because that's one of the best battles I've seen on television. I know it's going to get better, but up to that point, that was awesome.
I'm just saying, that's pales in comparison to what happens in the later episodes.
Wow. So
even as good as this is, it's still not reached its peak.
So Tyrion, so smart, they set up the dragon fire potion and
wildfire, brother.
Wildfire. It's wildfire. So, Stannis and his men are coming up, and there's just one boat, and they're like, there's nobody on the boat, and you see green in the water. Tyrion gives the signal, and Bronn launches the arrow, and wow, what a tremendous green explosion.
Oh, shit.
Even the red fire against the green was just gorgeous, like so beautifully shot. And despite that, they make it out short. Bronn the Hound has a great line when they finally get out there. He's like, if any man dies with a clean sword, I'll rape his fucking corpse. And like, just to show you how badass he is. Except when he sees the dude on fire. Old burning face Hound kind of freezes up for a second. He does not like fire. Bronn saves his ass, and then he goes up and he's like, fuck your kingdom, fuck your king. I'm out, you motherfuckers. I was like, oh shit, fucking Hound ain't having it anymore. It's just too much for him.
What else, Simran? What else did you like?
The fact that Tyrion
no more narrating. What else did you like?
I did not like the fact that he gets no credit for the battle.
Oh, he'll never get credit for anything.
He's never going to get credit. I really felt for him. Played so well.
Up to this point is he's a Lannister, so he's with the most richest house in all of Westeros, yet he'll never be a true Lannister. He's like he's a half Lannister.
And but he thought he was doing good. He was sent there to be the Hand, and then he comes out of that and he's like, "You're not the Hand. This is your shitty room now, and nobody wants to hear from you, and nobody knows what you did." Nobody.
He's clearly completely undervalued by his family.
Yeah,
and hated by his family.
All because his sister hates of how he looks.
Well, his sister hates him.
Yeah, no,
too.
that's what I'm saying. Everyone despises him, and it's because he's an imp, and he killed his mom. His birth killed his mom.
Oh, that's right. She tells the story of how some great lines.
Fucking
came out and killed my mother, and he's like, she was my mother too.
Cersei was great in that season too, because just she isn't easy to root for at all. She's terrible.
No,
but you can see in this season
You respect her as an evil.
She wants to. She was just born the wrong gender. If she was a man, she'd be a fucking warrior. But she can't. She's a fucking woman. And in this culture, she's limited in what she has. But you could see why she's so bitter about where she's at and where her life, because
just
nothing's
seething,
been decided for her. She's had no agency in her life whatsoever.
Man, the way she was fucking with Sansa too in that episode where she's like, "Oh, once the new king comes, you'll be like a piece of cake."
Well, you gotta learn how to use the weapon between your legs.
Yeah, you got it, and that's what she does. And by the end of the season, it's really Cersei and Tywin are running things, and Joffrey's just there. He's gonna listen to whatever they say. I love Tyrion smacking Joffrey was awesome. He's like, "You don't talk to a king like that." And he smacks him. He goes like, "No, I struck a king. Has my hand fallen off?" It was because he was an idiot. The guy throws a cow pie, and he's like, "Kill them all." And he's starting to see,
if you notice, Tyrion's one of the only guys that talks back to him.
Yes,
everyone else.
The mom tries, and he just put. He's like,
she slapped him the one time, and he was like, "If you do that again, basically you're dead."
Yeah, man, she's hardcore. She's gonna kill her fucking kid, based on who was gonna walk in that door at the end. And she almost killed him.
Let me throw in some other names.
Yes.
My boy, Robb Stark. I love Robb Stark.
Robb Stark meets a girl.
I love Robb Stark, and I love the girl he meets, Talissa.
Yeah,
I thought they had really good chemistry. I liked Talissa's fucking
good sexy
hot
time.
because she's
the
fucking
only
hot.
sexy time. That was the only sexy time.
That is Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter.
Oh wow!
Really? Wow. She is exotic and beautiful.
The way Robb Stark is portrayed, I really enjoy.
What do you like about the Robb Stark?
He's the young wolf, man. He's the king of the North, but he's the only guy in there that he's not going for the throne of Westeros. All he's going for is revenge.
Yes.
He will, after this is all done, he would go back to the North and just be king up there. He doesn't want to rule everything. This isn't a power play for him.
He does not want to sit on the Iron Throne.
Yes.
Right.
You're gonna love Robb Stark later on in the series.
I always get him confused with Jon Snow because they look alike, and then I used to get him confused with Theon Greyjoy.
Is Jon Snow over the wall? Has he met the wildlings yet?
Yeah. Okay. So the Jon Snow storyline is up there, and they capture the redhead, and they leave him. Ygritte. They leave him to kill her.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yes, that's a great line. He can't do it. She gets away. He's trying to find his people. Of course, she knows where she is. Those wildlings have a kick-ass costume, like the helmet with the it looks like Skeletor.
I was going to say that the costume design is so fantastic, good. And especially when they go in the north and you got the crows and you have I'm like, first thing I thought I was like, is that fake fur or real fur? But but the wildlings, I mean, they look like they could just blend right into the snow.
The camouflage, if they lie down, you wouldn't see them. Whereas the crows stick out like a sore thumb. So, what's his name? That dude, I wrote his name down. Corin Halfhand, kind of provokes Robb and makes him kill him so that Robb can get a meet and greet, or Jon Snow, a meet and greet with the real king of the North up there, which I haven't met yet. They're on their way. Manser, yes. I thought Shay was going to bang and Jon Snow were going to bang in the snow. Apparently he's a virgin. Yeah, not Shay.
That's Tyrion's girl. Come on, man.
The redhead girl. What the fuck is her name? Ygritte, yes. I thought Ygritte and Jon she was going to deflower Jon Snow. No, but they were spooning and they woke up and she's like, "Is that a sword in my back?" And he's like, "Oh," he's all embarrassed. And then she realizes he's still a virgin.
Yeah.
I can't say anything.
Oh my God.
I'm also at the point, not as far as Rugby, but I'm holding back on stuff too.
All right, let's talk about what Daenerys is up to. We saw a new land.
Okay, Daenerys for me was actually her plot story in this was the weakest.
Yeah.
There's times where she's going to be weak, and there's times where she's going to be strong, and this is one of the weaker ones.
Yeah, it was kind of like in the background, just getting her from point A to point B.
At this point, it's still so disconnected from anything that really matters to you at this point that it's still, and all she's doing at this point is figuring things out.
She's setting things up,
but it's so far away.
But she does go through a pretty crazy change throughout this, where in the beginning, she is Khaleesi, and then a lot of the Dothraki leave, and she has a small group of followers after walking out of the fire because she is the mother of dragons. She's trying to get a ship. They end up at Karth, where apparently Tyler Perry runs the place, and Zaro Zohan Doxus, and that dude Piet Pri, Tyler Perry looking motherfucker, he wants her to marry him. But he doesn't wait for that, and there's a coup. He kills everybody, and they steal their dragons. But at the end, I love the redemption of her getting the dragons back and getting some silver. And the last 2 episodes of the last 2 seasons is Daenerys burning a motherfucker. She likes burning people.
She's the mother of dragons.
She burnt she told the dragons to burn the magic dude, and the chains fell away, and they're on the way. Yeah, so it was mostly them setting up pieces. And then you're right. Nothing she's doing. Nobody knows anything about what she's doing, except Varys does mention. He's like, I heard Daenerys is alive and she has dragons. And
they don't give a fuck about her.
No, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck until they need to. We had the Tyrells, who flipped a little bit. Flipped allegiances because the sister. Oh my God! First of all, Dany Rand and Renly Baratheon are great, and Marjorie.
You think they're great? They were only in like 2 episodes.
No, I just think it was funny. Is Marjorie wanted to, she wanted Renly to put a baby in her, and she's like, "Do you need my brother to get you started? I can call him." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "It's cool. That's okay. He can start. I can come finish up." And that line where she's like, they ask her, "Do you want to be a queen?" And she's like, "I don't want to be a queen. I want to be the queen." And then she's a deviant motherfucker. Fucking Joffrey kicks Sansa Stark to the curb for Tyrell Marjorie, and poor Sansa. I don't know why she doesn't leave. Although Sansa has nowhere to go now. Winterfell is all
also
the shit.
At this point, Sansa for me is a very pathetic character.
She really is. Like, what is she doing?
Did you guys get to see Iron Fist in there?
Yes, Dany Rand.
Yeah, Dany
Rand.
Dany Rand,
the Flower Knight.
See, doesn't he act better when he's in his element?
He kind of does. It's like
I don't think they really give him a lot to do.
He just stands there.
Just blow
at
guys.
This point, yeah, it's just like blow guys, make out with dudes, and then stand around and be told things.
And then who else we got?
All right,
yeah.
Brienne of Tarth.
Yes.
Fucking awesome character.
Yeah, so I love this whole storyline where Lady Stark lets Jaime go and Rob's
Lady
pissed.
Stark. Let me make a quick point on Lady Stark. I hated her this season.
Do you think that was smart of her to let Jaime leave for the trade?
No, it was not smart of her.
No, not smart at all. Rob gives her a talking to, but Brienne is tasked with taking him to King's Landing. She's fucking badass. I love her. I love her character. I love that scene where they get to the water and she has to kill those Stark people because they were giving her shit, and they almost they made Jaime Lannister. And he's like, "Those are Stark men," and she's like, "I told you, I don't work for the Starks."
What Game of Thrones is really good at, what I've noticed at this point, is they're really good at making you care about characters that were just sideline pieces when you first met them.
Yeah.
And then they build these characters up. It's really well done how character driven they really are. Because Brienne of Tarth, I'm like, who the fuck is this tall bitch?
Right.
Now I'm like, I kind of like this girl. She's really honorable. I mean, she's fucking protecting a criminal, and she's just doing her duty. And
she's good at what she does.
Yes. You see that from the.
Where are you on Jaime Lannister at this point, Imran?
So Jaime is he will do whatever it takes. The fact that he kills his fucking cousin to get out, to escape the first time, after like telling him this heartfelt story. Like I saw the cousin creeping forward, and I was like, that's probably not good. But then Jaime's going into this whole story of when he was a squire and his first time. And then he's like, we're going to escape. And he's like, his cousin's like, I'll help you. I'll do whatever you want. He's like, very good. You're going to have to die. And I was like, oh boy, I kind of had a feeling. But for him to take the time to just tell that whole story and then just fucking kill him. Like, the guy's ruthless.
Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister are two of the most complicated, interesting characters on television at this point.
They really are, because at times you do think Cersei does care. You know, she cares for her children. She is a mother, and but she'll just do some fucked up shit at the same time because she's got to be her way.
Yeah.
Well, she's at war.
First off, she's at war.
Yeah.
Second off, she's had, like I mentioned earlier, absolutely no say in what she gets to do in her life.
Right.
She was born in a Lannister as a girl in a Lannister family.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
was
She's
married
totally
to
born
a guy that
yeah.
didn't like her at all. Robert Baratheon never liked her. She was forced to marry a guy that loved someone else.
Yeah, that'll make you bitter.
Not only loved a Stark, so then hence why her bitterness towards the Starks.
Oh man, yeah, that's good.
They're all good.
They're very complex. Last episode we didn't even get to talk about fucking Littlefinger, who is just
he's a little fucking rat.
He is playing every side, wherever he is. Jesus Christ, this guy.
He's a slimy
Such a slimy piece of shit.
The way he acts, his voice, I don't know if I like it or not.
I know, it's kind of like
yes, Sansa Stark.
Yes,
you will have to go now, Sansa.
So yeah, and then some of it is just like such over the top bullshit.
Over the top the way he acts.
Yeah. But he owns the finest brothel around.
Yeah, he's got some good hookers in there.
He's got some good
Roz
hookers.
is still walking around.
Oh, you know what? Another great moment got me nervous when Cersei tells Tyrion, "Oh, I have your whore, brother." And then they bring her in, and he's worried, and you're like, "Oh shit, they got Shay, and it's not Shay."
Oh shit,
it's Roz, isn't it?
It is Roz,
and both of them play it off like she's the one, and then he goes and finds Shay. That was very, very well done. Shay's gonna have to be careful. And again, Cersei was almost onto her again. She was trying to figure out like, this girl doesn't know how to curtsy, and you're up in King's Landing. That's got to be an interesting story. And she starts to tell the story, and luckily is interrupted during the battle. By the way, we got to go back to that battle because medieval warfare is badass, and what they showed us was badass. Fucking flaming swords and rocks against ships and ladders and battering rams. Like, you forget like that warfare was this brutal.
It was up close and personal.
You had to get your sword bloody. Yeah. Oh, that was and like so well shot, really easy to follow the action. The one thing was weird is how Stannis was like, he got it to the top. They lost the battle, and it looked like he was being captured, and then he's just free. The next scene.
It was his own men grabbing him.
Oh, pulling him away. Okay. So yeah, we meet Melisandre, and she's a fucking witch, and and they put a dark ghost baby in her, and that was fucked up. The black baby that looks like Stannis. That was weird.
I didn't like the kid. I didn't like the magic baby.
The magic baby goes and kills Renly Baratheon. What the shit is this?
I thought that was
a little convenient.
Yeah, I thought it was. I'm warming up to the magic, but to be honest, when they first started introducing the magic, I was like, I don't know if I like the magic as much.
It's a little gimmicky.
It's not that it's just. I don't know. It's very Deus Ex Machina, but I'm learning to like.
I know Melisandre has a bigger role, and she does some fucked up shit moving forward. I remember hearing some things.
There is. She's a character that is you could take or leave, but like it's one of those things that. She's essential in kind of shining a light on this religion that she's part of.
The Lord of the Light.
And ushering in notions of magic into this world, because at this point you haven't really seen anything magical.
Right.
And so you got like kind of like the White Walkers, that they're magical, the dragons are magical, or they shouldn't exist. And now you have the this kind of this religion with magical overtones to it.
It's neat how the magic is on the edges of this world, and
I look at it as the magic is almost kind of an allegory for our past, like past history. So like current times right now, we don't place enough emphasis on learning about history and learning about the mistakes we've made, and now it seems like a lot of times we're repeating them. And it seems like what Game of Thrones has done is they've made magic that same thing, where everyone now in Game of Thrones is like, that stuff's children's tales. None of that stuff matters.
They don't believe it, but there
you
used
don't
to be
believe that
magic
stuff. There used to be there, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they're underplaying the fact that this stuff happened, and now it's all coming back slowly and creeping on them because no one's actually studied it anymore.
And they don't believe in it, but it's still powerful. I guess so. There's so many religions. So like the Dothraki have a religion. Then there's like the old gods, and there's the new 7 gods. Then there's the Lord of Light god.
Well, you got to throw like Essos is like its own thing. So like that's where the Dothraki are. You gotta like forget about Essos because that's its own land.
That's completely separate. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas Westeros has like the old gods, the new gods, the
7
faces,
kingdoms,
which are the new gods.
Yeah. And then what the Lord of Light thing comes from?
It's like it's new. This new religion.
It's monotheistic.
Yeah, and then you got then you got the Greyjoys who believe in the drowning god or the water god. I forget what he is. And they're like their own island, so like they can believe in whatever. They're like Hawaii.
Okay.
Well, like the new gods,
Pacific
the
Islanders.
old gods and the new gods are an allegory for Greek gods and the pagan gods, and then the Lord of Light is kind of like a allusion to Christianity.
Dude, he's fan fictioning history. This motherfucker. That's exactly what it is. But what's interesting in Christianity is they adapted a lot of pagan symbols. If you follow it back to get the pagans to jump on board with this Christianity, in terms of like the triangle shape of like trees and everything is from paganism.
The pagan the Romans had this installed into every facet of their culture.
Right.
They couldn't just mandate a religion change without like making it very easy.
Yeah,
like
nobody would have bought it. Yeah.
It's almost like you have everything that you had before, it's just called something different.
Right.
That's all they did.
Yep. And I think it's...
they just put a new narrative.
Yep, they put a new narrative, and they made Jesus the head guy instead of whatever it was, and, the switch from...
And then they made saints, which were like the lesser gods.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me throw in one more character that you haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
Theon Greyjoy.
He's a mess.
You mentioned
what a
him
mess.
early, but he is the epitome of a mess.
What a mess.
He is like the epitome of like what this show is kind of about, where it's like loyalty to family, and he doesn't
know who his family is.
Yeah. And he doesn't know what side to please, and he's not definitive in his actions, so he's just kind of being pushed and pulled by different families.
Man, when they dropped those 2 burnt kids, and like right away I knew that wasn't fucking the Stark boys, but the look on his face, you saw it. It said it. He's like, what the fuck did I just do? What am I doing? Like, just unsurety. And then Yara, his sister, gives him the great line. She's like, which of them gave you more trouble, the cripple or the 6-year-old? And just fucking banging on him.
I love that he meets Yara and he's like feeling on her tit and trying to like...
God, that was so disturbing.
And then he realizes it's his sister.
He was putting his hands down her pants in front on the horse and grabbing her tits, and she didn't say shit. She's like, I wanted to see what kind of guy you were first. I was like, oh my God, these people are fucked up. That was
he didn't
great.
know. He didn't know that.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop the first time.
He didn't know that was...
She's not a handsome
woman.
No,
she's not.
No, she's not, but she's clearly leading the Greyjoy army and ships and shit. And then they just knock him out and they're like, okay, enough of this shit. Let's take him home.
His speech in comparison to Tyrion's, where Tyrion like rallies everybody and Theon tries to rally his group, and they just like, all right, you're done, and knock him out.
All right, let me ask some questions that are really important. All right, so we got Anthony, we got Imran. Okay, at this point in time, who are the 3 hottest chicks on Game of Thrones?
I mean,
Ron, you want to go first?
I'm going to go with the easy one, fucking Daenerys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Your turn.
You got to go with Imran. You got to go with 3. He asked you for 3, you dummy.
Well, we'll go back and forth. Oh, okay. Look, I'll go Daenerys. Talisa was pretty hot because you did get to see her naked also. And Shay's attractive, but there's just like, I don't know. There's something about her.
All right. I'll go with Daenerys.
Yeah.
She is just stunning every time. And on screen, she gets better as we go along. Daenerys is great. What's her fucking face? Talisa, I thought she was fucking hot right off the bat.
Yeah.
She's got like kind of this ethnic flair to her, like a little bit darker.
Yes.
Not like all those northerners that are pale as fuck.
Yeah.
My third, I don't know why I have a huge thing for Roz. I have a boner every time that girl's on screen. She is such a whore, but it's awesome.
The redhead?
The redhead.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Sansa. She's
Really?
Oh yeah, she the redhead. Oh my gosh.
She looks like she's fucking 15 though.
She is in that. She's like 19 when that show's filmed.
She does nothing for me.
Honorable
Okay.
also mention to I think I like Marjorie. I think Marjorie.
Oh, Marjorie Tyrell. Yeah. You know, and there's something about Cersei Lannister that's sexy also.
Well, she's like the elegant old.
Yeah.
She's like in her 40s.
She's beautiful. I mean, she's not hot, but she's very beautiful.
You've seen her on 300 too.
Yeah.
You recognize that face.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that Daenerys, even though that she's got a good look, I really feel like people overhype her.
Okay.
She's a little bit overblown. I feel like that she's like a little bit short and a little bit stubby.
She does have like a little girl's body.
Yeah, but she's not. I wouldn't put her at the top, but she's definitely a good-looking chick. But like, there's definitely. I would go with Robb Stark's wife. I don't know.
Talisa. That's Talisa.
That's her name. Yeah.
What about anyone in love with Ygritte?
I was gonna say there's something about the redhead wildling girl.
There's a lot of redheads on this show.
There's a lot of redheads on the show, and like the redhead does something for me too. I'll be honest. Like there's a redhead. Like so, there was something about her, and just the bright red against the white, and it just sticks out.
No one likes Melisandre though.
No, she's kind of creepy.
She's got a good body, but I'm not into her face.
Okay.
And she is, and they do a good job of making her just like they play that weird music every time she's on screen. So it's just like
they make her creepy. You know who I thought was hot and they killed her was the girl Tyler Perry was sleeping with. That was
she was great too.
Yes,
yeah, she was sleeping with Viserys in the first episode.
Yes,
season.
and then she was sleeping with Zaro Zohan, and then they both get locked into that empty crypt by Daenerys to die. But I liked her. I thought she was pretty hot.
There's more coming.
Oh boy.
There's more.
Only one good sexy time for the season, though. Less sexy time.
Well, you also
it's going to start dying off. The nudity is going to start dying
Osha
off.
Fucked Theon.
Osha, she did? Oh, no. Oh, she did. And that's how they escaped, too. Or that's how she got him out. She fucked Theon to sleep. That's right. There
was some sexy time season 2. I think you're just forgetting.
It all blurs together.
It's not as much. It's not like over. It's not as OD.
Yeah, they were like getting a lot of criticism for a lot of sex position, so they were toning it down a little bit. Well, they were just having random sex scenes while people were talking.
Yeah, no, and there was like, when Bronn was in the pub and he's got that girl and he strips her down. So there's just like a lot of boobies and a lot of like hanging out in a strip club.
So now that you've seen season 2.
Yeah. Wait. I just want to mention that at the end,
you got something else to narrate?
No, just the White Walkers, the 3 horns. You hear them talk about 1 horn means this, 2 horn means this, good. And they're like 3 horns means White Walkers, but we haven't heard that for 1,000 years. And then
the only one that knows about that is Sam.
Samwell.
And they're like, how do you know about that? He's like, I read it.
I read it. Yeah, yes, he read it in a book. And then you hear the 3 horns, and then you see the fucking, even there's a zombie horse. It was kind of like an awesome Walking Dead scene, but way better than Walking Dead when those fucking White Walkers showed up. That was cool.
It's just a different level of.
Yeah.
I mean, Walking Dead, for all we give it shit, they do a really good job on the makeup.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Walking Dead is like a very quality show, but I think that, as I said, it's on its downside.
Right.
It hasn't been able to maintain.
Whereas this thing just keeps going up and up and up.
Well, I mean,
and they don't do that thing where they decompress everything and you're bored.
No, it does a great job. Like you won't see Daenerys for an episode, but you'll check back in, and it's just enough. It keeps it moving. So
are you now more into it after watching season 2?
I am, but I here's the thing.
Or were you already into it after season 1? And
I was into it, but I was into it after season 1. The second season's got me way more invested. However, I'm starting to see this is like a fucking crack addiction. Like, because while I want to smoke all the crack right away, all of it, so I can have all this, but I also want to enjoy the crack. I want to slow down, and because if I binge too much, like I'm not gonna fucking remember anything. Like it's all gonna blur together. So I may.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, so I may take a little bit of a break before I start season 3 to catch up on Preacher ended. I gotta watch the last couple episodes of Preacher.
I didn't watch any of it.
Oh, I've been watching it. I gotta watch like the last 3, but the season's over. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna jump back in. I feel like we'll blow through this in a couple of we'll be at the end of this in a couple of weeks.
I will be definitely.
You will be done.
I will just say, try not to look up anything. Literally, don't look up anything.
I won't.
Don't even Google search people's names. Don't even Google search their real name.
Look, here's what I know.
It will help you so much.
Episode 9 of both seasons have been the huge fucking turning points. I have a feeling they like to make episode 9 fucking nuts and then wrap it up in the 10th. But 9 is like the holy shit, what the fuck?
Oh, shit.
Shit they do. They've done it twice. Also, Daenerys has burned people twice in episode 10. I don't know if this is a pattern, but definitely the way it's structured, the way it builds up to the 9, and then kind of has a nice closure with 10 within the episode.
Well, what 10 does is they set up the next thing. Yeah, they set up the next thing.
It's so fucking good the way it's all set up.
Yeah.
I mean, I could binge the whole thing, but like I said, I don't want to smoke all the crack at once. I want to enjoy my crack. I paid a lot of money for it.
I
want to make one thing.
Yeah.
So when we were doing the live blab, and that the dude, Sir whatever his name is,
Sir the fake British guy called you rugby.
Yeah, fake British
Dakota Saunders.
And he goes that he thought that Arya Stark was attractive, and she's a child.
I remember that.
Oh no!
Doesn't that make her skin crawl?
Yes.
Like when I'm like, "What are you saying?" He's like, "Well, I'm like, whoa,
holy shit! I totally remember
She's
that."
not even okay. Let me. Not only is she a child,
and that was like 2 years ago.
She looks like a boy.
I was gonna say not only is she a child, but there's little girls that you're like, when she grows up, she's gonna be something.
Right.
That's not the feeling I get with Arya Stark. No.
I had a feeling he liked small boys, and that's why.
Yeah, that was just such a strange thing to say. And the sad thing is that there is a bunch of dudes. This is not like a one-time thing. I've run into this where I've heard weird dudes have an affinity for.
They're into Arya Stark.
If I read comments on certain things on Game of Thrones, or I read an article on birth, movies, death, or something, there'll be some fucking asshole who now she's 18 years old or something like that. But during that time, she was a kid. And I would read comments like that, and I was like, dude, these people are fucking.
Jesus Christ.
Strange.
What is up with these people?
So one final piece of news regarding the finale, season 8, that I'll share, and then we'll get to some feedback, which is also Game of Thrones related from our listener. Season 7 was hacked, leaked. The whole synopsis is apparently. Ruggs, what was leaked exactly from 7? Do you know?
There were a couple episodes that you could watch a day earlier or something like that.
Yeah, I think the episodes got leaked.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What? In fact, Kit Harington, it says in this article, once said that he filmed upwards of 15 hours of additional scenes that weren't used in the final cut, just so they could throw off people online should those scenes ever end up online. Well, for season 8, they are going to be filming several versions. This is from the morning. HBO president Casey Bloys had to say this. He says, I know in Game of Thrones, the ending, they're going to shoot multiple versions so that nobody really knows what happens. You have to do that on a long show because when you're shooting something, people know. So they're going to shoot multiple versions so that there's no real definitive answer until the end. So they're going to do this in a way that even the cast and crew does not know what is the actual version that they're going to air, because they do not want this getting out, and that completely caught them off guard, I guess.
Now, how do you feel that this is going to end? You just discovered this great thing.
This is why I don't want to fly through it. I want to enjoy it. I want it to sit a little bit. I want to absorb it, but at the same time, I want to be caught up. It's so weird. It's just like drugs.
Yeah, but you're going to be caught up, and you're going to be waiting with your dick in your hand.
But now I'm starting to see that I might go back and watch the whole thing again. I'm hearing a lot of people say on rewatch, it's even more rewarding because you see things, you catch things that set up other things that you didn't. So, yeah, I mean, I cheated myself out of 7 years of good TV and only to have a year to enjoy it, and then it's over. But it'll be fine. There'll be a next thing.
I'm sad that it's already ending.
Yeah.
Even though it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
But I will be happy to be in the conversation.
Yes. That's the other thing. I'll be happy to be finally caught up and know what the fuck people are talking about, for Christ's sake. Speaking of what people are talking about,
I'm eating this up like fucking crack.
Yeah, you are loving it, and some of our listeners are too.
Anthony's the last person I thought would like it because he said he was averse to like fantasy. Yeah. And I told him it's just the characters and how they write it and the production value. If you take all those things and just throw like the fantasy aspect out the door, it's still better than like I was gonna say like 90%. Like there's a couple of things that are better, like Breaking Bad and this and that, as far as pure writing. And really, character.
At this point, fantasy is like 20% of the show, really.
Yeah,
it's a historical fucking fake docudrama, is what it is.
But the great thing is that in the later episodes,
you get more fantasy.
The fantasy is great, and the production value is amazing, and the dragons look great, and everything looks great.
I think that does really help. The production value is huge, because as much as I enjoyed watching like Arrow,
right,
or like Legends of Tomorrow at some points, it's so cheap. Like it just takes you out of it at points.
Well, when you see this, you see what a real it's like. This is television.
Right.
All right.
It's not cable. TV. It's HBO, people.
All right. It's cable television, but it's television.
Still television.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's episodic. They can't just make one movie and blow their load. They have to space it out and budget it for all these different things and enough stuff to keep you interested in it for that long period of time, and enough production value to kind of back it up. The amount of characters that are intertwined, coming and going, and the amount of set changes.
Yeah.
Like different areas, different
more
set locations.
Cities, more locations.
Okay, yeah. And then you have these fantastical elements and all this thing on open water and all this stuff. It's just never been done to this level. It's just never.
Whoever their like site coordinator is that picks out shooting locations is doing a fantastic job.
Right. So you have there's some great costume dramas that are out there that you can watch, that have good production value and stuff like that, but not to this level. There's just nothing.
Actually, my friend Gabe, who I saw him earlier this week, he watches Game of Thrones, and he's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen on TV. I was like, holy shit. He's like, yeah, this is the best thing ever.
You can go back and watch Rome.
Yeah.
And you'll see that the sets are a lot cheaper looking.
Really? Wow. And at the time, I remember thinking that was like their most expensive show at the time.
Yeah. And Rome was great for its time, but this is on another level.
Yeah.
Rome is still great.
It is
Rome
good.
Is still up
it's
there.
Really good. And you see a lot of those
But
cats.
it is nowhere near the scale.
But everything kind of falls into place. Like good writing, great casting, great sets, great costuming. Like everything is just top notch, and they improve on it. Amazingly. So, and
Boardwalk Empire is is very good too.
Boardwalk Empire is very epic. But then you got to go back and you got to credit George R.R. Martin for coming up with it. But here, let me read this tweet from Adam Morris, because he kind of puts it great. Adam Morris, of course, our podcast science advisor guy on Twitter, writes, "Glad you boys started the GOT. If you like the show, don't read the books. Martin has a great imagination, but his writing meanders everywhere, and it's not very good. I had to reread at least half of the chapters because they're hard to follow. They toss out all the bullshit and kept the best guts of the story for the show. I find it 1,000% better personally." And he's like, it's opposite of most adaptions. You can tell how long it takes him to produce a book that he has storytelling issues. Some people love his writing. I just find he gets wrapped up in details that don't matter or go anywhere, so you get bogged down reading it. So he's given us great content, and now they're just fucking streamlining it and giving us the good shit.
I'm quite happy I've never read the books.
Me too.
Because the surprises are hitting me every time.
And I think this is, once in a while, there's an exception to the rule where the book is not better than the movie or the TV show. And this is that exception. But I agree. I'm glad. I was like, we ain't reading shit. Don't worry, Adam Morris.
No,
he's like, okay, good.
Anything.
Yeah. Another Game of Thrones update from people from the Facebook group. David Malofsky says he actually watched the first 4 episodes a long time ago. My reaction was, this is really well done, but I am completely uninterested in watching anymore. And then Wes Cranford, Yank from Down Under, wins the night with the best line. He comments, I don't think you could keep up with Tony anyways. He seems to have traded chasing women for medieval incest porn. LOL. Points to Wes Cranford. That's a great line.
Let me comment on that.
Yes.
There's been already, I mean, even coming up this weekend, this is being recorded on a Thursday for our listeners. Even coming up this weekend, I know last week and the weekend before, there's been nights where I haven't gone out because I'm like, I just want to watch Game of Thrones.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna put this out right there now, though. This might actually help you with the women game because now you got something to talk about.
Now you'll know what
everybody watches it, including women. Yeah. So you're gonna bump into a broad one day, and you're like, "You watch Game of Thrones?" And she's gonna be like, "Yes," and you're gonna talk to her, and then you'll be doing the whole Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, you can.
I appreciate the thought, but I don't know when I'm ever gonna go into a bar and my first line will be, "Hey, you watch Game of Thrones?"
Let me get a Game of Thrones.
Well, maybe it won't be your first line, but after you've started.
Anthony, let me get a Game of Thrones pickup line. Can you come up with one?
Game of Thrones pickup line.
Yeah.
Want to sit on my Iron Throne?
There you go. Like oh shit! Yeah. I knew you wouldn't disappoint. Want to pet my dragon, Daenerys? I don't know. Okay, so finally, from Ron Hans, listener and Patreon supporter, he goes, "Hey, Imran, I just got done with this week's episode," meaning our episode. Truth be told, had to wait a couple of days to finish season 1 of Game of Thrones. I was at episode 8 when your review dropped. With that said, as I type this, I am now on season 3, episode 5. Oh, shit. As you can tell, I am in. I love that you brought up the fact that Peter Dinklage's character steals every scene. I thought the same thing. I can't stop watching any scene he is in. The other thing that I like about finally watching the show is the fact that I know where some of these people in the movies came from. Finn Jones, I could see he could actually act his way out of a wet paper bag. Sophie Turner, way better in Game of Thrones than X-Men. Alfie Allen, who plays Theon Greyjoy, was a douchebag in John Wick, and I can now see where he learned it. The fact that I can now binge this show is awesome, but binging it does make me forget a lot of what has come before it. So you guys doing the reviews is going to be great. Keep up the great work, guys. Look forward to the next review. Thanks, Ron. And then I got another progress update. He's finished season 3 last night. Now, I'm going to say this to set up what we're going through. Anthony, you've already experienced this. And so he said, episode 9 of season 3 actually made me say, oh shit, out loud, I feel like such an ass for not watching this show sooner.
I wish you didn't even read that, Imran.
Well, look, it's on our Facebook group. What am I supposed to do?
I know, but even that is too much.
But I already know the episode 9s, they love to build up to some fucked up shit in episode 9. They've done it twice. I hope they keep doing it. It's a good structure. It's a good format. Like, I was already kind of on to episode 9. I see what
I got to disagree with him on the binging thing.
Yeah.
The binging thing has actually helped me remember everything a lot better.
Instead of waiting
that week wait that year wait when it goes from one season to the next, I forget everything.
Well, but yeah, the year wait is horrible. Because I went through this with Sopranos, and what helped is the fact that HBO reruns the fucking episode all week long. So I would end up watching the last week's episode a couple of times just because it was on and it was so good. And I would do the same for this. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking watch this part again. So they replay it enough, but that was before the days of DVRs and shit. So I don't know if they're gonna even do that anymore. But you can watch it over. But between seasons, I'm glad I didn't have to wait between these seasons. I gotta tell you. Just got to wait between the last two seasons.
We just got to wait a year or so.
This is why I don't want to blow through it, but I do want to blow through it. I don't know what to do.
Just do one season at a time, a week.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a little breather. I'm gonna start. I want to see, and then when we talk about it, I want to immediately go and watch the beginning of season 3, and I might just fucking do that now, and I've waited till we do the show so that I could be fresh. And now let's move on. That's it for the show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Rugs, where can the people find you?
Really Rug Boy on Twitter.
That's right. And you can find me also on Trivia Geeks and Sketching Comedy. Real quick, last night we did a pretty fun episode of Trivia Geeks live on YouTube with 2 really good comics. These guys' names are Dan Cummins and Chad Daniels. Dan has a podcast called Time Suck. It's really big. And both of them have been on Comedy Central, The Late Show, The Tonight Show. They have multiple stand-up specials. They couldn't have been nicer guys. It was a lot of fun. It was a fast and loose edition. It's on YouTube. I'll embed the video in the show notes. It was a lot of fun. And these guys were like legit comics on the show. It was neat. So, but subscribe to this show, listener. Cool. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And of course, tell a friend, spread the geekery. Now, I'm sure you know someone who listens to Game of Thrones. You can get them on board. Send them, link them, post this on your Facebook, spread the word.
Listens to Game of Thrones?
Yes, listens to Game of Thrones
audiobooks?
While they're watching it on TV. You listen to it while you watch it. That's technically not incorrect.
What if you're deaf?
Then you read the captions like I do. And you know what? Captions on this show, can I just advise, turn on the captions. It will help you immensely. Because
I go back and forth on the captions.
I think it's great because when the character's off screen, they'll put up the character's name and you know what they're saying and what their name is.
Now, Anthony, are you watching all this on your phone?
No.
Oh, Jesus, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Joblin, shut up. We're podcasting. That means it's time to go, listener. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time, yo.
Yes. I see that you know your judo well.